nation, no matter the location. From O-A-K-L-A to L-V, I'm a Raider.
Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and today's show presented by my good friends, Panda Sups. It's 2021. If anybody out there is trying to get into better shape because 2020 kicked your butt a little bit, go ahead and get yourself the best workout supplements on the market. And if you make your purchase today, okay, you're going to get free protein samples. You can see the link below, pandasups.com. Code Raider Nation to save 40% off. On today's show, we're going to talk about some Raiders rumors that I heard over the weekend around JuJu Smith-Schuster, and then the latest NFL news on, well, Deshaun Watson. Let's first dive into it here around JuJu, and why the heck is Raider Nation freaking out over Smith-Schuster all weekend, whether it was on Instagram, Twitter, literally everywhere. So he did a 4-hour Fortnite stream on Twitch where he basically talked about free agency. He talked about just about anything that people wanted to ask him. And I'll give JuJu some credit. I like that he's always interacting with fans. I like that he's always been himself. That's something I will give him credit for. However, I do think that this is a story that is being a little bit blown out of proportion. So obviously, fans, all teams are like, hey, JuJu, you're going to be a free agent. Where do you want to go this offseason? Now, when you go back and look at reports just from last week, Smith-Schuster says that he wants to remain with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, that is what he should say, but we will dive into whether or not I would want Smith-Schuster in some silver and black. I'll tell you what, though, free agency, it's going to be a fun time. Trades, always a good time. The draft as well. If you want more Raiders videos, if you want more free agency videos, click the big red button that says subscribe right underneath. We're getting close to, wow, what is it now? 72,000 subscribers. If we get to 72K before my live show tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific, that would be dope. But I do know y'all are always wanting more content, more free content. The way that we do that is by hitting that subscribe button. So let's talk about JuJu potentially going to the Raiders. Obviously, fans from Raider Nation were like, hey man, would you consider going to Las Vegas? This is the issue here, okay? Like, and I get that sometimes people also are trying to make content on Instagram or on Twitter. He hinted at the idea that he wouldn't mind playing for Vegas, but let's get one thing clear. He never said he wanted to be a Raider. I saw it on numerous accounts. I saw it in numerous articles that JuJu Smith-Schuster said that he wanted to be a Raider during his 4-hour Twitch stream. That's simply not true. All he did say was, hey man, if they want to pay me some top dollars, essentially, I would definitely consider it. And yeah, who wouldn't? So before we dive into whether or not I want Smith-Schuster on the team, let's look at his stats from since he's been a rookie. Let's go to 2017 where we'll start it off. 58 catches, 917 yards. He averaged 15.8 yards per catch and 7 touchdowns. That is a very respectable rookie season. Let's now go to his sophomore season. This was his breakout year. 111 catches, which led the team, 1,426 yards, 7 touchdowns. That year was with Antonio Brown as basically the number one receiver. So Antonio Brown goes crazy, leaves the Pittsburgh Steelers, and now JuJu is left to be the number one. In 2019, he battled numerous injuries. Obviously, also Ben Roethlisberger battled numerous injuries, but 42 receptions. He missed 4 games, 552 yards, 3 touchdowns. These numbers are not so much on him. They're more on Mason Rudolph, Duck Hodges, and whoever else the Steelers try to throw out there at quarterback. Now, let's look at this past season. 97 catches, 831 yards, and 9 touchdowns. I will say that I think the biggest reason why the yards and the yards per catch are down, Ben Roethlisberger, coming off the Tommy John UCL injury, simply couldn't push the football down the field. So when you look at his 4-year average, this is what I want you to do, because this is healthy Ben Roethlisberger. This is him being a number one receiver. This is also him trying to balance it out with Antonio Brown. 77 catches, 932 yards, 12.1 yards per catch, and 7 touchdowns. The reason why I wanted to make this video is because I saw it was very, very split on whether or not the Raiders should go out and sign JuJu Smith-Schuster. So I am going to make this the pinned comment on today's video. And after this YouTube ad break, I'm going to tell you whether or not I want the Raiders to go out and get him. But before you see that, I want you to type S for sign or P for pass. The Raiders should stay away from JuJu Smith-Schuster. This one is for Chucky heads. Believe it, baby. When I look at reports around him and how much money he could potentially make, like I go to Over the Cap, I see Spotrac, I've seen people on Twitter. The numbers I'm seeing are $15, $16, $17 million. So he's probably going to make at least $17 million per year. I would estimate for a young player like him to probably sign a 4 or 5 year contract, right? The issue is this. I don't see him being a true number one wide receiver in the National Football League. And it's nothing against him. He is more of a 1B style of receiver. That's not something that the Raiders need. Plus, you need to be able to focus on defense. And if you're going to invest that much money, I would rather you invest it on a true number one receiver or some other top players on defense. Now, obviously, wide receiver is still a need for this team considering the fact that Nelson Agholor, who was the team's best receiver, obviously, if you're talking about just targets, Darren Waller's still the number one guy, but Agholor, free agent. Zay Jones, free agent. Tyrell Williams is another player that he's actually not a free agent, but I anticipate him getting cut, and then which leaves Henry Ruggs, Renfro, and Brian Edwards. I mean, that's a lot to be able to put on an extra guy's plate. But if I'm going to invest money at the wide receiver position, how about y'all help me out with this one? If you could pick one guy to sign, would you rather pay Nelson Agholor $7 million, type NA, or would you rather pay JuJu Smith-Schuster $17 million a year? I want you to type SS. No offense to JuJu. This is an easy one for me. I'm going to take Agholor, who had, basically, I would actually make the argument, a better year than JuJu this past season. Plus, already knows the offense. And, yes, he's a little bit older, but that is a big-time difference for, well, basically the same type of production. And I actually think Agholor fits our offense maybe a little bit better for what the Raiders are trying to do. I'm going to type NA. So here are their 2020 stats. JuJu was targeted 128 times, 97 catches. Do I think Smith-Schuster could live underneath, be a good slant route runner for a Derek Carr type offense? Yes, absolutely. However, we already kind of have receivers in that role. We already have a Hunter Renfro. We already have guys that can work underneath the middle. We need people that can stretch the ball down the field. That's what this Raiders team needs to do. And when this Raiders offense was really clicking on all cylinders earlier on in the season, it's when they were stretching it down the field. And that's why I would rather spend $7 million on Nelson Agholor or then $17 million on JuJu. But if I'm being honest with y'all, I'd rather just save the money and invest it entirely on defense. Or you could save $7 million and you can invest it with Panda Subs to get in the best shape of your freaking life. So I told y'all, hey, Panda Subs, the guy who owns this company, big-time Raider fan. And if you want to get into better shape, telling you, go get the protein, 30 grams per scoop. Like, you want to go look at a lot of other protein companies, it's normally like 24, 25 grams. No, this is high-quality protein at pandasubs.com, but you got to use code RaiderNation to save 40% off. And if you make the purchase today, yes, today, January 18th, also happy MLK Day. If you make the purchase today, you will get free protein samples with your order. Now, maybe you don't need any protein. I get it. It's all good. You got to go out and try their fat burner. I use it literally every single day. It's going to really wake you up. It's like 300 grams of caffeine. That's basically like 4 or 5 cups of coffee. And if you're a gamer, maybe you're on a Twitch stream for 4 hours and you're trying to focus. Get some nootropics. It's basically like protein for your brain. It's going to help you think a lot better. If you're in school, if you're trying to make Raiders videos or podcasts, I'm telling you what, if you don't like coffee, this is the stuff to get. Pandasubs.com. Use code RaiderNation to save 40% off. And one more time, free protein samples if you order today. So how about this? Since we're talking about JuJu, we're talking about $17 million. If I'm going to spend that type of money on a receiver, there are only 3 free agent receivers that I would spend more than 17 on. Allen Robinson, that's my number one guy. Honestly, I'd pay him $20 million. Chris Godwin at age 24, another PSU product, Penn State that is. Very young, very talented, another guy that I would pay top dollar for. Kenny Golladay, age 27, battled a lot of injuries, especially the groin, but he also led the National Football League in 2019 in receiving touchdowns. We need to get better in the red zone. You need to get better in goal-to-go situations. Kenny Golladay is a great option. Now, how about if we want to save a little bit of money? If I'm going to pay a guy under $10 million, these are 3 candidates to go out and look at. It's Curtis Samuel, it's Marvin Jones, it's Nelson Agholor. If you're trying to save a little bit of money, if you still want to add another receiver, these 3 guys might be the best bang for your buck. And out of all of them, obviously I would still take Nelson Agholor, but Curtis Samuel I think would be a great fit with this offense, especially with his athletic ability and underneath routes. Now, we've been growing the show like crazy, and I appreciate everyone out there. This past weekend, I was hanging out with one of my best buds down in Dallas, Texas. He's a big-time Chiefs fan, and I went and I repped Raider Nation. I want you guys to go check out the post. It's on Instagram, at Mitchell Renz 365, and I tagged all the Chiefs fans that are in that post. Go give them hell. Go spam Raider Nation in their comments. I would definitely appreciate it. All right, I promise y'all some updates here around Deshaun Watson, because when I look at my DMs, and yes, they're always open, and when I continue to ask y'all, what do you guys want to talk about, still the main topic is around Deshaun Watson and whether or not the Raiders should go out and get him. I'm telling y'all right now, I would be unbelievably shocked. I gave it 0 Chucky heads. Tucker will tuck that before, but this is a show where I am trying to at least keep you guys up to date on some NFL stuff as well. So there was a report that happened over the weekend that Watson potentially has played his last snap with the Houston Texans. That was from Adam Schefter. He's obviously upset with the organization. He wants to be more included. And the real thing that's interesting is he has a no-trade clause in his contract, which basically allows him to pick whether or not or where he would want to end up going getting traded. So I found the latest trade destination odds around Deshaun Watson. The New York Jets at plus 200, Miami Dolphins plus 300, Bears plus 400. Actually, those are probably the three most likely teams in my opinion. But how about this? The Raiders, right? This is the Raiders report. That's what this show is all about, at plus 1,200. So basically, they're tied for the 8th best odds and going out and trading Deshaun Watson. You're going to still see articles. You're going to still see things around Deshaun. I'm simply just here to tell you he's a great player, but it's never going to happen. He's not going to be a Raider. So I'm curious, where do y'all think that Watson is going to play in 2021? Scrolling down in the comments section and let me know. And if you are curious about, I don't know, where I think Deshaun Watson's going to end up playing, believe it or not, I don't just make Raiders videos. I make a lot of videos, especially on our main YouTube channel here at Chat Sports. Over 230,000 subscribers, and I believe it was on Friday, I ranked every single team's chances of going out and getting Deshaun Watson. Yes, I ranked it from 31 all the way down to 1, so as soon as this video is over, please go check it out. I encourage you all to let me know what you have to say. But much love to everyone who's made it this far in the video. I'll put the link to this video in the description. I'll also throw it in the comments. That way you can go see it.